Hey everybody, we're going to get moving on this project here, so we're up to episode number 2 already of our dummy load tester for our bass and guitar amplifier. So what you're looking at here is the stripped chassis that I showed you in episode 1, and you'll see that there's really nothing left here except for this bulb holder, which I'm going to remove. It's relatively clean. You'll see there's nothing there. It has a few rust stains. I'll probably paint it first. And then underneath, I've left this bank of terminal strips in place, so that I can reuse it to connect things underneath. So this is going to fit really well and really enable me to connect everything pretty easily. I almost want to use this as a guitar amp, a little Fender Champ or something like that. Because if you remember, this wood case just looks awesome. And I used some bri wax on this thing and picked it up. It's got some Bakelite speaker grills, and the finish picked up really nice on this thing. But I really don't need another small little guitar amp, and I'm not going to use it. Honestly, I don't play guitar, I play bass, and so I'm gonna stick with my plan and make this dummy load tester out of this box. It'll be nice, right? It's a nice little wood box. So my next step here is to mount these resistors to the top of the chassis, like so, like this, right? And then the wires will run down in this hole and go underneath and go to those terminal strips, so that's easy. And then where I have to go next is figure out what I'm going to do with this faceplate here. So if you recall, the faceplate that was on this thing originally is right here, like that. And this faceplate actually mounts to the chassis, just like so, right? There's the chassis, and it mounts just like that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to try to cut holes in this thing. This thing is solid metal. I'm not going to try to cut this thing. I don't have the right tools, and I'll just end up ruining it. So what I'm going to do is use a piece of ABS plastic in here and mount it inside and connect it to the chassis, just like the other one did, right? Same thing, same way. But it's high strength, low flexibility, so it'll enable me to use that. And then I'll mount my selector switch. If you look at the schematic, I need to have a selector switch right here, right? Modes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 here, 4 ohm, 8 ohm, speaker with 4 ohm and speaker with 8 ohm. And then I have to mount the meter, and I have to mount a few switches and the inputs and the outputs. So my last decision is, what meter am I going to use? Alright, so I have 3 options that I could use here. First thing I could use is these cheap meters that I got on eBay. I got these 2 meters for $14, and they're watt meters. And you'll see that they appear to be home to 8 ohms, but that's controllable by how they're wired. On the back, there's no connections or anything here, so that's easy to modify. Or I can use this digital meter, which I picked up, which is interesting. Doesn't require power. All it really is a series of capacitors, resistors, LEDs, and transistors. And you'll see that it goes from 0.3 all the way up to 400 watts, and it gets power from the speaker load. So interesting, right? 2 little wires. And what I was thinking with this one is I could actually take this and mount it inside like this, something along those lines, and have that mounted right up there, and it would look really nice. And then the space underneath I have available for the knobs and things. And then lastly, the other option I have is this Radio Shack APM 100. And this is what Terry used on his project. He's got one of these on his project. There's 2 in the box. And if you look inside, all you'll see is that there's basically a circuit card. There's a couple of capacitors and a couple of resistors, and everything is one unit. So you just take those screws out right there, cut your wires, and you're good to go. So I could use that. So I have 3 options, and I'm going to leave it up to you which option I should use. So I need each of you to think about that if you want, and let me know which one you would use. Now, on these cheap ones here, as I noted, there's nothing underneath. There's no circuit card, so I would have to figure out how to wire that. Fortunately, on this Radio Shack one that I just showed you, the APM 100, it came with the original manual, and it actually gives me the schematic of how the meter is wired. Right? And you'll see there's a resistor, and there's a capacitor, and there's a diode, and all kinds of cool stuff that I can build a really easy circuit board and use those meters. So I'm fortunate that I have the schematic on how to do that. So so that's where we're going to be next. So I'm going to ask you what meter I should use. Do I use these? Do I use this digital one? Or do I use the Radio Shack meter, the APM 100? If you leave it in your comments, whichever one wins is the one I'm going to use. In the meantime, I'm going to get busy mounting this and starting to get my connections in place. And this piece of plastic that I'm waiting for here comes tomorrow. I'll cut that to size, mount it here on the chassis, and start to dry fit the selector knob right here. This is a cool little knob here, right? And that's pretty much it. I've got to also mount this. This is the variable speaker control. So it's going to be tight, but I should be able to get all that stuff in here. Especially if I have a meter across the top here like this. I should be able to put two things side by side and then have selector switches maybe right here inside the wood. And then I've got my inputs, one here, and output right there possibly. So that's where we are. Appreciate you watching, and let me know if you have any questions. This is Ron.